recording. Okay, so our meeting is starting at 4:01. So we have 5 things on our agenda, plus, oh yay, Christina's here.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And there, yay. Okay. I'll wait for her to be officially connected before I talk further. Hi, Christine. I don't know, it looks like your name is here, and hi.
Hi, Barbara.
Hello. Nice to see your name.
Thank you. How do you do it so you can see the picture?
In the bottom left hand where the mute button is, to the right of that is a video. And it probably says start video. You just click on that.
There you go.
and there
Thank
are.
you.
Got it.
Fantastic.
Hi, Elaine. Hi, Christine.
Hi. Hello.
And BZ may or may not be joining us. So we're
Hi,
officially,
Ann.
yay. So we're officially started.
Okay.
Why don't we start with the announcement kinds of things, which are the workshop on composting. Oh, and here comes BZ. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have a full house.
Oh,
Could we
baby.
just do the minute approval so that I
Oh,
can?
I'm sorry, of course.
Okay.
Could we have a move to, could someone move to accept the minutes from last meeting?
So moved.
A second? Okay, all in favor?
Okay.
Yay.
Great.
Aye.
Sorry, I'm so excited to see everybody. I'm forgetting protocol. Hi.
Hi, what were we just moving there?
To accept the
You're gonna
minutes.
do everything from now on.
So we can I'll just send you the list and we can end now. 'Cause, you know,
That's what happens when you come late.
I know, I get it. I'm 2 minutes late, 2 minutes.
well, you know, we're on top of things here.
Wow, you are like moving like, you know.
We just passed the minutes.
Yes.
Hi, BZ.
Hey, how is everybody?
Good. How are you, Grandma?
Well, not yet. Hold your horses, I'm not a granny yet.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I hope everything
Okay.
goes, you know, you never know.
Well, let us know.
Yeah, not till summer. We
Yeah,
got a ways
so-
to go. She's halfway
thank-
through.
Oh, halfway through? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we won't hold our breath.
No, don't hold your breath.
Okay,
We're
no,
not,
no
it's not
breath holding.
imminent.
Okay. First, the information about the composting that Elaine sent around. I plan to go to that. I don't know if anybody else wants to go, but I will definitely be in attendance,
Great.
both for purposes of our community garden and for my own personal benefit.
When is that again? Do you remember?
When is it? It's March 24th.
No, I'm gonna be away.
Yeah, but it's online. It's an
Oh,
online.
it is?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. so
And I
it's-
just saw Mary Ann at the library and she said she's got all this programming she's lining up.
Mhm.
Great.
Oh,
And what-
I should send this to her too.
You
Yes.
should, definitely. And
Because-
she has somebody's gonna do soil testing for her.
Yes, yeah, I met with her and it looks like we're gonna have a lot of opportunities to co-sponsor activities with her,
Right.
which is very exciting.
Mhm. This
Um,
is the Greater Quabbin Food Alliance, and they do fabulous stuff.
Great. Yeah, it'll be nice to have a connection with them. So thank you for that, and anybody else who wants to join.
I will.
It's just
I'll be there.
super. And Christine, did you end up being able to make it to the state sponsored training?
Yes. And do you want me to be honest?
I like lying personally, but yeah, go for it.
It was a bunch of bullshit. All the guy did was talk, saying the same thing over and over, but I was there, so whatever.
Thank you for going. Yeah, it was, I appreciate
Thanks,
that.
Christine.
No,
What
you
was that,
guys,
Steve?
you
What
guys-
was the thing you went to? I'm sorry, I didn't get it for the minutes if it's important.
It was something that was sent around by, I think it was Grace, sponsored by the state. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but just going over requirements. for
What it boiled down to is following rules so that the town doesn't get in trouble in regard to being on committees. That's
okay.
basically, he just kept
that.
saying the same thing over for 3 hours.
Okay. Oh,
I'm
Well,
being
thank you for your
honest.
perseverance. Yeah.
So I did ask Grace, do I get reimbursed? Because I
Yes,
think,
you will get, I'll take care of that. I'll
Okay,
get a
cool.
hold of her and make sure you get reimbursed.
cool, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna make a note of that.
God, you had to pay to sit there for 3 hours?
Yup,
Oh,
and be tortured.
I hope you had something you could do with it. Do you
If
knit?
didn't
you
have
were
my-
Elaine, you would have knit a whole blanket while you
That's
Well,
were
right.
that,
there.
I didn't have my knitting because I made a mistake. Believe me, I would have had a sweater made.
Like Madame Defarge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm actually gonna switch the order a little bit because a couple of these I think will be pretty straightforward. The guy, I called, or I sent a text, yeah, I can't talk. I sent an email to a contact at the Native Plant Trust about doing a workshop on invasive plants. She said she'd be happy to do it, but she's not an expert, but she knows an expert. So she sent me the name of this guy. His first name is Brian. I don't remember his last name. I've had some back and forth with him. I've also talked with Marianne because he would want to be paid. He said he suggested $600 for his services to come and give a workshop of some sort. Marianne said that she would be happy to pay some of the fees for him. So I think we're going to be all set with being able to afford him. But the question that he asked me that I wanted to have us decide on is what the purpose of it is. And I didn't think about that. I just thought, oh, invasive plants. So he said, what is it that you want to do? Do you want to learn about invasive plant management just as a general field? Do you want to take a deeper dive into a few species? Would you want to develop a work plan for a specific site where that site would be where the garden and the hopefully library would go? Or would we want people to be able to go home and be able to clean up their yards?
Yes.
So all of them? I think we have to choose.
Personally, I would say let's work on this site that we have for the garden, and doing that will help people be able to transfer that knowledge to their own yards.
Mhm.
But let's make it a twofold thing.
Yeah, I actually, when I listed them, I put an asterisk by both of those for that very same reason. It would be nice to be thinking about that site, but
Mhm.
while learning about how to control invasive plants in that site, have people be able to take that knowledge and use it in their yards.
Because they're probably the same invasives that would be in everybody's yards.
Yeah.
Around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, is there a reason we have to limit it to someone's yard? Because I know, like on Montague Road, there's people who try to just clean up along the road. So even if we just say you can apply it to
Yeah.
wherever you want, sadly,
Mhm.
there's probably a lot of options.
Yeah, so broaden that to clean up their
the
environment.
Yeah, yeah.
is this, can I just ask, is this going to be a long workshop? $600? That's a lot of money, isn't it? For somebody to just
Yeah,
talk
it'll
about
be
basic plants?
it would be, it would be probably 4 hours, so,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it would be. I mean, I will talk with him about it. He's starting up a business, and one of the things that he does is he goes in and helps towns, communities, figure out how to get rid of invasive plants. So, Okay. So should I have your blessings to go back and talk to him and work with Mary Ann about getting the rest of the money for him? Okay.
When are you scheduling this for?
Pardon?
When are you scheduling this for?
End of April, beginning of May
Okay.
would be the ideal time, he said.
Oh, okay.
Okay, also going out of order, the orienteering event. When I was talking with Mary Ann, there is a summer read, and I'm sorry, I don't remember specifically what it was. Somewhere on my messy desk, I have notes, but it has to do with people being out in nature, and we thought that would make a nice time for the orienteering event. So if we have the orienteering event in fall of 2023, and that timing, I think, works out well with the ability of creating the map, then we can just have this be an event that follows right on that summer read in early fall.
So you
So again,
2023?
Isn't that right? Yeah. So this spring, he would be, yes, because we need the time for him to develop the map,
So this spring, what's he doing this spring?
making the map. This is actually a two-person process. There's one getting the person to make the orienteering map. And then the second is having someone come and run the event. The person who's going to be making the map lives in the Boston area, I think in Acton. The person who's going to run the event is the husband of a friend of mine, and he's offered to do it for free.
But that wouldn't be for a year and a half after the maps.
I'm sorry, 2022. I've got my years
Okay.
wrong. Oh, no
Okay,
wonder
okay.
you were looking puzzled.
Okay.
Elaine, I'm so glad you asked that. I was just like, everything's being pushed back, so.
Yeah.
it must be
I was
2023.
wondering.
Oh, sorry about that.
Can we get a little reminder about the timeline with the library? Like there'll be a vote at town meeting in May,
Yes,
correct?
Well, first
Yes.
of all, there's the grant process we should hear by March 15th.
right.
Okay,
And then we vote in May, and then all the site work and everything starts. So that's not really going to break ground until probably spring of 2023.
right. Are we imagining that's when we would start the gardens, when they're breaking ground? We'll do it at the same time?
We could probably be doing when they're doing the site work in like fall of 22, I would imagine is what they'll be doing. They'll be siting it, and then we'll know where we can site. And if they're going to be doing any digging, we can have them, dig for us too while they're there.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Great. Yeah, so that's where I was thinking about the 2023 because garden got pushed off to 2023. So, but yeah, no, 2022 would be the orienteering event.
Okay.
So now the location of the orienteering event, I've been having conversations with various people about the location. And the location that keeps coming up is the best possible one is back behind Lake Wyola, to the north of Lake Wyola. It's public land, so we don't have to go through anything to get permits or permissions from landowners, which the guy told me is what's most difficult because they don't want people on the property. There needs to be some.
When you say behind, are you talking about the Southbrook Conservation Area or north behind the parking lot?
North behind the parking lot.
Okay. Okay.
What's needed is some network of trails, so that's why the Kestrel wouldn't work. Because at first it seemed like, well, wouldn't that be nice to do it around Ames Pond? But just going around in a circle doesn't really help. They don't really need it doesn't have to be miles and miles of trails. There just have to be lots of decision points on whatever.
There are.
Yeah.
I've gotten lost there before.
Yeah.
Well, we
Okay,
had
good,
a walk,
good.
we had a recreation committee walk there with, remember Elizabeth and Bert, and we had a bunch of people came on that. And we did that area. We walked up there because you can walk from there to the
Fisk
other
Pond.
pond.
Fisk.
Yeah,
Fisk.
Fisk Pond, yeah.
but there's a lot of different trails back there. And you can go
Yeah.
around in circles for a long time.
Perfect. Because what I'll do is get a hold of the map maker again and then start talking money, because the maps can be very expensive to make. However, because this is for beginners, he's not really going to have to map out into the woods. Everything will be close to the trails.
Mhm.
So hopefully that will keep the cost down.
And is this
I
for
will-
teenagers and up? What's the age?
Families.
Okay.
It actually would be for just about anybody who's never done it. So the idea first came to me when I was talking to a friend who did one for beginners that was done on Mount Toby. And she just said it was a blast. And there were people of all ages doing it. There were groups of families. Anyway, it was a varied population that was doing it in terms of age. So this is something, and the nice part about it too, is once we have the map, this is an activity we can do whenever we want, every year. It'll always be a beginner level. If we were to decide, well, let's make it a little tougher because people have done it before, well, then we could hire him back and have him do like the next phase out from the map that we have now. I don't know how that would work, but for now it's beginners. It's really aimed at, groups of teenagers could do it, families with young children could do it, people my age could do it. Although in the interest of full disclosure, both Elaine and I are turning 71 this month, so maybe we won't be able to do it. I don't know.
Speak for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, you guys are just friggin' old. Let's just say that. I want to say.
Hey, you're 1 year behind us, girl.
Yeah, it's a big year though. That's a big difference.
Tell me. It all goes to hell after 70.
It did for you, for sure.
Certainly did.
Oh, God. So those are kind of announcement-y kinds of things. If everybody's in agreement with that as a location for it, then we can get started with making the map. I'll get a hold of them. Okay, great.
Great.
So that's the invasive plant thing. We're set with that. We're set with the part.
Thank you for
And
doing that, Barbara.
oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Oh, now number 3, I'm definitely taking these out of order. The tie-in program for the community read in April. And again, somewhere on this desk are my notes, but the community read is about people who kind of gave up their urban life and went and started a farm. And I think the person who wrote the book lives in Vermont. So I was telling her about Zoe, who runs Ancient Pony Farm, and how we had talked about perhaps having seeing if she would be happy to have, and I think she would be, sort of people coming to see her garden and learn about what she does in terms of sustainable gardening. And Marianne thought that sounded like a great idea because it would tie in with that community read. So if that sounds like something we'd like to sponsor, I can go talk with Zoe. I was going to offer her $250. And then this would be, and I would ask her for the exact timing, because it would be, when is there the most to see in terms of getting the garden established for the kind of farming that she does. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a little question about paying this other guy $700, and then we give her $250. I just wonder if how people feel about that. I don't know. Feels like that's a big difference between the two events.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
just to say, the map, to make a map costs thousands. So I have not taught class with this guy yet, and I'm not going to start off with $1 amount.
I'm losing you there, Barbara.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Oh,
Can't hear you, Barbara.
Can't
Can
hear
you hear
you.
me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to just not move.
Right.
It costs, it can cost thousands of dollars to make a map.
Okay,
So I'm hoping that he'll do it basically on the cheap for us, because we can't afford to pay him what he typically is paid to make a map.
okay, I had no idea it was that expensive.
I didn't either. In terms of paying her, when I went to the finance committee to justify our budget, I did say that we insisted on paying her. We insist on paying the rock wall maker because this is their livelihood,
Right.
which I distinguish from somebody who has ferns as a hobby and takes us on a fern walk. That's not their livelihood.
Okay,
So
I
if
got
there
it.
is a way to pay her more, I would definitely be fine with that.
Okay,
Okay. So I will talk with her and get moving on that. So I think then what that leaves us with are two things. Planning for the field day, which is going to be upon us faster than we think, and our terrible web page. So why don't we start with the field day? And Elaine, I'm gonna kind of turn this to you. I haven't done a field day. I know you had some ideas and people who might be happy to help with this.
Okay, I talked very, very briefly with the what's his name, Stephen, of the gym teacher at the elementary school. I have a problem with field day. Personally, I'm not going to be able to run it. I'm going to be having back surgery this spring. And so I am going to be out of commission for about a month. And that will be, I'm waiting to hear exactly when that's going to be. It could be as soon as the 1st of April. So I'm a little concerned about doing it that quickly. We might be able to do something in the summer or the fall, or I can punt it to someone else and I can give a lot of instruction and help with publicity and help with other people who could get involved. Actually, if we did it in the summer, it might be easier to do because we could get the high school cross country team and track team possibly involved. I know the coaches there pretty well, and they're always looking for community projects to do. And so having a day with the kids and families, and I know I talked to Ron Berger about it, and he was pretty pumped about it. And there is a number of runners in the groups here that would be willing to give up an afternoon and timing kids running different races and seeing how far they jump and stuff. It's not going to be a high intensity activity, but I think more for I would like to pitch it towards the elementary grades so that we get the families there and the families know what the track is and what they can do with it with their kids over the summer. So sooner to the summertime would be good, maybe sometime in May, but I'm going to have to put a lot of the heavy lift onto somebody else for that actual day.
I vote that we wait till you're feeling better and do it in the fall. Because I think you're passionate about this. I don't know, unless there's somebody else on the committee who's passionate about this, but I think,
Christine, you were passionate.
Told Elaine that I would help you, Elaine, with that.
Mhm.
I would help with it.
Okay.
I would too, but I wouldn't be like in charge of it. I mean,
Right,
Yeah.
ditto.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
I
saying,
should be supposedly up and around after 3 to 4 weeks. So it's not going to be, I might be able to just be out there, I won't be running around with the kids kind of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's not going to entail that much. It's going to entail really coordinating, and as soon as we pick a time frame, I'd like to start talking to the people I would like to have volunteer. And it would be nice to have it so that there's still a Road Town Reads, I believe, that goes out electronically. Is that true?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Christine, do you know? Is there a weekly? Can't hear you.
Yes,
She's muted. You're muted,
Yes.
Christine.
Yes. Oh, there
the
is.
road to, yeah.
Okay, good. So I'd like to be able to get it in there and have it, in there for a couple of weeks and make it, something, maybe even like they get out of school. What day do they get out of school?
It's the middle of June. It's pretty early this year.
Yeah,
It's
so
like the
maybe,
18th or something.
okay, so maybe we could do it like the first or second week of June and coordinate that and do it on a Saturday.
June 24th, they get out.
Okay.
Ooh.
June 23rd, sorry.
Okay, so I'll find out what, I know that the cross country and track coaches are very strict on what their kids can do during their season, and what they can offer for weekends. I'll check what their schedule is too and see how helpful they would be. But I think it'll be pretty easy with them. I mean, they do. Actually, Sugarloaf Mountain Club does such a thing over at Smith College. Is it Smith or Amherst? I can't remember now, but they do it in the summertime too. And that's a fun thing for families. So
Right.
I thought, doing it nice here in town would be great.
Mhm.
So Elaine, can I just ask you, is a field day, is it like a pretty set understanding of like what people do for activities? Is it races and jumping? Is that the?
Yeah, it's basically, we have the track, so it'll be, depending, it'll be by age group, I would say. And so, we'll have the track, they'll do a race around the track, maybe once for the young kids, twice for the older kids. There's jumping, so you'd set off a little area where we could put sand out and they could jump into sand and see how far they can jump from a certain area. We'll have throwing. We've got enough rocks here. We could have them throwing rocks to see how far they can throw them, that kind of thing. So
Okay.
that's about it. I mean, we could do silly things like three-legged race if we wanted to, just for fun. Sack racing if we wanted to, just for fun, but just to get them out there to know that the track is there and that you can use it.
I have this, again, it's like selfish in some ways, but thinking about some diversity, I wonder about like jump roping, because I think there's competitive jump roping around here, and it might draw, kids who might not be interested in track and field, but it's certainly, the track would be a great place to do that sort of thing.
And we could purchase jump ropes.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really, I mean, I haven't seen it except on Instagram, but people who do that kind of jump roping, it's great to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christine, you've had your.
Mr. Kara has a ton of stuff he does with those kids. I mean, inside and outside, he's got all kinds of equipment.
Yeah,
He's
that's
got
Great.
things set up inside the gym where they do obstacle courses, they climb up ropes. I mean, he's got everything from A to Z.
Yeah, the only thing that I'd be worried about is that we're not going to be during school time. And so we have to be very careful about insurance. That was one of the things that they were concerned about when we were talking about skating, is that the town's liability, if we got everybody out on Lake Wyola and it broke. So,
Eric, I asked Eric about that, and he said all you have to do is put up a sign. You don't even have to get people to have waivers. You just say, this activity, you're on your own, basically. We're not covered or whatever, the legalese that you're participating, on your own. basically. The town is not covering you
Mhm.
for anything that happens, so you just have to have a sign up.
Okay. Now I have a very, yeah,
But for being on the school property, using school property, I'd be a little bit more wary. I mean, I wouldn't do the obstacle course thing, I think.
mm,
That might be because, or maybe, wow, here's a tie-in. Maybe we could do it and tie it in. I know that the fire department has been wanting to have increased visibility in town,
mm,
have more volunteer participation. So if they brought their fire truck there and
ooh, yeah.
emergency vehicle and had a little thing set up there, then they could take care of cuts and bruises and have their presence there. I'll talk to Walter about that. That would be
Mm,
a twofer for all of us.
mhm.
I think before you go any further, you're really gonna have to talk to Jackie and the school, and run this all through the school, because
Yep.
you're not gonna get any kids there unless you have the school helping you, and
I
Um,
agree.
it-
It's been-
I wouldn't ask Walter. I wouldn't go any
no.
further until you get over there and ask her about
Yeah,
this.
I'll talk to Jackie about it. I've had trouble connecting with the gym teacher a little bit. So, we've been playing phone tag back and forth. I call him and he says, "Oh, I've got to run," and then he calls me back and I'm not there, and we need to set a time, but he has trouble setting a time.
I have a practical question about this.
Mm.
And maybe Christine, they covered this in your workshop. Can we have a subcommittee that meets to plan this that is not listed as a meeting? You know what I mean? I mean, we can't plan this with just our monthly meetings.
Yes,
And
yes.
so we can have a subcommittee.
We can have a subcommittee meeting that doesn't make major decisions. I'll run
Okay.
that by Grace specifically, but I'm fairly certain.
Okay, so we could have a subcommittee that meets, figures out all the things that are gonna need to be done and brings it back to this committee. to Make any vote, okay. So we can, but it would be a matter of discussing recreation committee business.
Yep.
I just think it would behoove us to have whoever the subcommittee would be, which right now would be Elaine, me, Christine, anyone else who wants to do it, right, Christine and Anne.
I'm the only one, not because I think I taught school for 35 years and I did field days every year, planned them, been there, done that. I'm just not that interested. I have to just say, it just,
So
How
we,
about
I
you
feel-
be our outs, what?
so then
I-
we can have just we can have more rec committee meetings that you're not a part of. That's fine.
You
Well,
could be our outside
I'll come and
consultant.
be supportive. I just don't want to be involved because I
Okay.
just
Yeah.
feel like I retired for a reason.
Yes, because I think that it would behoove us to plan something probably within the next couple of weeks, where we just basically make a list of the things that need to be done and prioritize them and when they need to be done. And Elaine, with your back surgery, I know what I'm about to suggest is going to be completely anathema to you, but you could just be in
Can't
the
hear
middle
you.
of telling people what to do.
Can't hear you, Barbara.
Oh, sorry, I was making a joke. I was saying that we could put Elaine in the position of telling people what to do, but recognizing her discomfort with that.
Oh, you know me too well.
Mhm.
Okay. So
I thought you were
will-
gonna put Elaine in charge of the wheelchair race.
Yeah, you could have walker races around on the track.
There you go.
There, it hits the two populations in Shutesbury.
Yeah,
That's right.
definitely.
That's right.
We could go for the oldest runner too.
There you
Yeah.
go.
There's
Yeah.
a prize for the oldest runner.
Oh, that's great. Good idea.
You'd have to have
Okay.
categories of people who didn't have replacement parts. If you didn't
Bionic.
have a replacement part, you could be in one category. 2 replacement parts, you'd be in another category. Good
Okay,
boy.
I'll call Jackie this week
Okay, and then
and set up.
sometime
Yeah,
mid-June, or not mid-June, mid-March, we'll just have a meeting to lay out what steps need to be taken and in what order, and then divvy up that work.
yeah, and maybe just have the meeting at the school, like on a, Wednesday afternoon kind of thing.
Okay,
We just pop in there and meet with her and Steve for an hour and
sounds great.
talk about it.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks, Elaine.
I'll send her an email and start broaching it.
Sounds great.
Okay.
So we got a lot of things kind of in the works here. This is great.
I'm not putting anything about replacement body parts.
Uh,
No, you're right there. I know you're taping this, so it doesn't matter, but the whole
Oh,
town
dear.
is gonna hear what we say.
That's right.
Our rec committee webpage.
What?
Our rec committee webpage
Mm.
All right.
is out of date. Doesn't reflect what we do. Is anybody here adept at editing web pages?
You can't.
It's hard
do it
to hear you.
yourself.
You can't, oh, you can't.
You cannot do it yourself. We have to go through the web committee.
Okay,
Yeah, because
okay,
every town, you're talking about the town website, right?
yes,
Okay, every committee has to go through the town website guru and they do the reconstruction with you. They'll help
Okay.
you, but you can't do it on your own.
okay. In that case, something that we as a committee have to do is define what our goals are.
Mhm.
I think at this point, this was a question that I was asked at the finance committee. And the way I answered it was to say that we were going at that our activities were reflecting goals. But that
We can't hear you, Barbara.
I cannot find my mic. Can you
Okay,
hear me now?
yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
right in
Okay,
that
I'm not
position, we
moving,
can hear you.
but
You can't
I'm
move.
gonna be frozen in place. At the finance committee, they asked me what our goals were and how those goals informed what we're doing. Here
Still
is
can't hear you.
You go in and out. Like, I think you're saying how our activities reflect our goals, something like that.
I'm gonna try to find my mic. Why
You're
don't,
good. You're
Yeah.
good.
If you're there,
Now,
If you
Got it.
lean really far forward.
like this?
now.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So they asked the question, what are our goals?
Mhm.
And I said, this is almost a direct quote. I said, I was a professor of strategy. And so I understand that the goals are supposed to come first. But in our case, our activities have been helping us determine what those goals are, which is backwards. But we are, actually, this isn't a direct quote. I was very articulate. But basically what our goals are showing is that we care about community building. We care about recreational outdoor activities and bringing people together. So that's what I said. Nobody challenged me on it, but I think that's the truth. We have not articulated what our goals are, and we are going ahead with a set of activities that are about bringing people together in the outdoors. So there, that's all I have to say about that. But I think that it would help to kind of think about what exactly are our goals and get that up on the website so it really is reflecting what we do. Right now, what the website does is it just refers to the law that created recreation committees. And that one of those things that recreation committees are supposed to do is provide playground equipment. We do not do that.
Right.
And so I think we really need to change it so that it reflects what we do. There.
Yeah, because a lot of those things on the website are not things that we are going to do. We don't do trail use and care. We don't do state park use and care. We don't do equipment needs. We don't do playground needs. We don't take care of the playing fields. You know, those are not things that we do. So I think we should be talking about it being mostly outdoor, recreational, and educational enhancement.
But
And
I think we should also remember that we started as a way of supporting the library yoga classes and
right,
recreational classes, and a lot of people in town do those.
yeah,
And I think we should not be exclusively using the language outdoor. I think we
Yep.
should also, encouraging people to move and to be active and in whatever way. So I think, don't forget that it's not just outdoor. So,
right.
and it is amazing how many people do those classes already. Like, that's a big,
That is,
it is really impressive. And so I'd like to just support that in any way that we can, even if it's just in the language of our goal is to get people to move and to be active and to be healthy, so.
Anne, you had your hand up there.
Yeah, Barbara, did you say something in an earlier meeting about how there's a particular section of the Massachusetts state?
Yep.
I don't even know what it is. Elaine's, you're nodding your head, so maybe you can help out here. But that there is something with the state that we have to make sure that we execute, or?
yeah, chapter 45, section 14.
Thank you.
It's right on our website. That's what it says.
We don't actually do those things.
So is that an issue? Sounds like an issue.
It may be. I printed it out. It is somewhere on my desk. I think that it behooves, I'll send it around to everybody to look at. I had not thought about it until the Open Space Committee included us as writing grants for playground equipment. And we had said, no, we weren't going to do that. I went to them, I said, we're not going to do that. And then I went and read whatever the law section number is. So I think we need to, go ahead.
I have it up on my my browser right now.
Oh, good.
I'll take a copy of it and send it out to everybody.
Thank you. So I don't know what the issues will be around defining what our specific goals are, but I guess we'll find out.
Okay.
Any other comments about that?
I think we need to have a subcommittee that works on our website and one that works on our goals, or at least
I agree.
someone do a draft of the goals so that we can all comment on it on our next meeting.
Would anyone be willing to do that before I jump into the fray?
Not
I'd
my,
be willing to collaborate with somebody, but not do it by myself.
I would
since I'm such a
collaborate with
newbie.
you.
Okay.
Okay, if you would do that, I will collaborate with you and we can read what Elaine just sent around, think about what our goals are, and then send that out for discussion at our next meeting. Sound good? Okay. So that's all I have. That's a lot that we've gone through.
Any other issues, ideas that anyone has?
What
I-
happened with the ice skating on Lake Wyola?
Christine, you go for it.
Basically, when I got down there, they had nothing on their shelves. So I was talking to Elaine that if we want to do this, we have to do it in the warm weather because nobody's thinking about, skating. So, I'm gonna go down there and check in with him and just see what he's got for inventory. And, like, my idea is that if Steve and Kara wants to like measure kids' feet, I mean, that's the only way we're gonna know who wants them for
Mhm.
next season.
Mm.
And to see if I can borrow the foot sizer, that metal thing that you measure kids' feet, so that we can try to hook these kids up for their winter vacation, February vacation.
I wonder if we could somehow with a deposit, just collect a whole bunch of the skates from him
Mhm.
and have a day that we go to the school and see if we can match skates to kids, and each one that we can, we buy. Ones that we can't, we bring back to him. Would that
I'll
be
ask him.
easier?
I'll ask him.
Okay.
And is this something that maybe Elaine, if you're with the gym teacher and the principal talking about field day, you might say, and by the way, we also have this idea and
Yeah.
like, see what they think of this idea, like, how could that work for them and their,
Hmm.
how do they want to participate in it or not?
Okay. Yeah.
I would, because maybe they say, forget it, we're not doing that, and we don't want to have school time doing that. And before you go
maybe-
to a lot
Yeah.
of energy doing that.
If they're not interested, maybe the PTO would be interested in
Yeah.
having that, or we could do it at like Celebrate Shutesbury. That might be a nice time to do it. One of
Right.
the problems though is there's nobody lately. I know Paul Lyons used to be really coordinating shoveling Lake Wyola so they can skate.
Yeah.
There isn't a place to skate right now. There's no rink built up there
Mhm.
this year.
That's too bad. They had a really nice rink going for a couple of years.
Yeah, but he's been away, so it hasn't. It started. They had it for the beginning of the year, and then once it snowed the last, I think 2 or 3 times, it hasn't been kept up. So we need to coordinate that too, and see if we could even hire a kid for to go out there and shovel it, a high school student or something. So, but I think it's going to take a little more planning than we were kind of thinking.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean,
Everything
we had
does.
an ice skating pond behind our house for years,
Yeah.
which I think Elaine, you skated on, and it was a shit ton of work. Can I say that in the meetings?
You want to spell that shit?
It was the kind of thing like if it, got slush on it, it was done. If you have to, like, you had to watch the weather like a hawk, and every time there was any kind of precipitation, you had to go down and clear it off. And I could see how Lake Wyola, it would be really hard to have somebody, if it's in your backyard, you can look out and go, oh, I better get that little, ½ inch of snow off. But
Mhm.
if you don't live right next to the lake and you're not looking at it, you're not going to think about it.
Right.
So it's very problematic, actually, doing that kind of thing. I mean, a lot of schools in Vermont and New Hampshire have little rinks in their playgrounds that they make for the kids at recess, and they can go out. My great nieces and nephews, they go to a school, they go out in every recess, if they can put their skates on by themselves, they can go out. The teachers won't do it for them. But if they can do it themselves, out they go and they skate for half an hour every day on the playground. So, and then you have the custodian who clears keeps the ice good, but you do need somebody who's really going to be
Yeah,
it-
that might be a future
Mhm.
project of ours after the garden is established and we have
Yeah.
nothing to do.
Yeah, Christine?
Or how about behind the fire station? I mean, basically, all you need is like plywood, pieces of wood. I mean, when I was growing up down the south end, there was a part of the park, Emerson Wright,
Yeah,
it puddled. So they put pieces of wood around it and it froze.
right,
So, I mean, the fire department, they have water if needed,
right.
and just
But
put
they would
more-
have to want to go out and make the surface every time it had, snow on it. You have to have somebody who's willing to resurface it and make it, somebody who's
Mhm.
into it. You have to have somebody who's really,
Right.
watching it. So it's a great idea, and I totally think it would be a healthy activity for kids to do, but you need somebody who's the, maintenance guy, who's the Zamboni operator, who's the,
exactly.
you
Well,
gotta have,
I think though we could still have the idea of giving the kids skates.
Yes.
and-
yes, you
and
still
giving
could do
them-
that.
And give them options because, I saw Ken Rotundi was not on the lake. He was in the grass area, right coming onto the beach. He was in the grass area. He had shoveled a little bit for his kids. And he said, they're skating here and they skated Puffers and they skated Leverett
Mhm.
Pond. And
Right, right.
so getting them skates.
Wendell State Forest. Wendell State Forest has a rink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and maybe we could do a skate day, a family skate day at UMass because they have open skating. So we can still do it if we're not tied to doing a established place.
yeah, I think it's
Right.
just too much work. I honestly don't
Yeah.
even think it's just not.
Yeah.
Much
Yeah.
better idea just to get them skates and then say,
Yeah.
find your own pond.
Yeah,
Break
Yeah.
your leg.
Yeah,
Mhm.
on your own insurance.
exactly.
Okay, so it's 4:53. I have one announcement sort of thing because I realized, I don't remember if I sent the information to you about the woman who is in Northampton, who is a champion of non-paved accessible trails,
Of what?
of non-paved wheelchair accessible trails,
Oh,
Oh,
so that people who use wheelchairs can get off the pavement. And I heard about her through Chris Valenti. She and I have been talking. They wanted some letters, which I've sent to everybody. And she told me about this woman, and she's an artist. And one of the things that and this is something, Anne, you had suggested at one point, is there a way of doing interesting signage? And that's what this woman is doing. So when someone in a wheelchair gets on a trail, they need to know what the grade is. They need to know if they can turn around. They need information that somebody who does not use a wheelchair doesn't need. And as an artist, she thinks about how can she do this in a way that is going to be visually interesting and informative. So I heard about her through Chris Valenti. As we continue to think about issues of accessible trails, I think it might be cool to get in touch with her and learn more about what she's doing with this signage. So anyway, it was one of those moments in the midst of a bad news day that just made me really happy to know that this woman is out there.
Cool.
Yeah.
very.
Okay, because we don't have enough to do, so. All right, well, it looks like we're all set. Is anyone?
When's our next meeting?
Next meeting will be the last Tuesday of the month.
The 29th, that would be at 4?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yep. So can someone move to adjourn the meeting?
I move we end the meeting.
And second, and all in favor? Okay,
Aye.
and thank you.